Hey everyone, welcome back to Riffs Across Generation. I am your host, Andrew, and as always, I'm here with my co-host,
Eli.
and we are joined today by a legendary band out of, and I know that word is overused and we use it a lot here, but it's definitely a band that is Florida. When we think of Florida, when we think of hot, humid days and trudging around in the swamps and everything, we hear SWAMPTOOTH's music as the background. And as we are joined by Chris and Matt from the band SWAMPTOOTH. Welcome to the podcast, gentlemen.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Yep. So right off the bat, we want to talk about the vibe of the band. Again, as I said in the little intro there, when we think of Florida, we think of SWAMPTOOTH. We think of mosquito swarms. We think of gators. We think of hot days. We think where everything slows down and just becomes a lot heavier. Tell me a little bit about how Florida has influenced your sound, or has really, we feel, become part of your sound and part of the feeling people get when they listen to it.
I got an obsession with gators and kid and lizards and stuff. That's why I stayed here in Florida, and I was be obsessed with nature. And I always said, man, I would like to do a band or something musically that talks about this, because no one does it. Everyone, everyone's just swamp this, but who's talking about the critters? So, but yeah, every day I wake up and it's just woods, and I'm blessed with that to see a lot of critters around. So it's just every day. It's something that's every day. It's a lifestyle. It's not a gimmick. It's like that's what we live. You know, the humidity and the critters. I love that.
Yeah, that was I guess my follow up question for it. Is it more, you are in Florida, not in like Tampa, like city life and or the suburbs or anything like that? You
Well, I, well, I know a lot of people don't know, but I'm in a weird place called Weirsdale. That's kind of part of Ocala, Lady Lake, and it's Florida, so it's way easier for the people that don't know. But yeah, I'm in like in the center, the heart of it.
I'm smack dab in Tampa.
right,
We
right.
rehearsed in Ocala though, and for me it's like an hour and a half drive every time we rehearse each way, and it's definitely, you can tell when you're coming back, there's a different vibe when you're on the highway. You can tell when you're getting back to Tampa. But Ocala, hopefully one day we can live out there. It's very peaceful.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, our drummer lives in Ocala. So hearing him talk about, you know, the hardships of living in Ocala, I really can't relate, because it's like times 100 living in Tampa.
Right. Right.
But it's cool. It's cool having, the balance, not just 100% aggression all the time of living in Tampa and just the pressure cooker. It's nice to have some peace in life.
And I live in
Sure.
Orlando, so but maybe that's why I appreciate it.
Orlando is one of those
Right.
tourist central, I mean, that's
And
what's
and the
weird about
and the
Florida.
traffic in Orlando. No, we don't want any part of that traffic.
It's weird, man, because people always say the more north you go in Florida, the more south you get. It's like, is that, I don't know, man. I mean, there's like pockets,
Pockets.
you go over to the East Coast and you feel like you're up north,
Yeah, once you're in Jacksonville, you might as well be in Georgia. It's the
right.
same
Is
thing at that
Jacksonville
point.
even Florida?
Yeah.
Or is it Georgia? You know?
When we listen to your music, we really hear the trudgy parts, but we also hear a lot of blues and, dare I say, southern rock. Do you lean into those genres as like influence?
Hell yeah, from the
Yeah,
heart.
absolutely. I've mentioned that to people before, whether they acknowledge it or not. But I mean, there's a lot of '70s influence in our songs, and I mean, we grew up hearing that. Of course, it's inevitable that it would show in our influences. I think that is a large factor why, when people try and describe us, they're like, I don't know, Swamp Tooth just sounds like Swamp Tooth, but instead of, following, the, like, I don't want to say like the pattern, mm, instead of, you know, being influenced by modern bands, per se,
For all souls.
when we do that, if any band that does that, it's like a festival circuit. It's gonna influence you. The more you hear it, it's gonna influence you whether you want it
Yeah.
to or not. And I think by, us not denying the old school influences, I think that's what partially separates us from other styles of music.
Yeah, yeah. I think the first time we heard you guys, we did obviously hear that all that trudging and the doomy grinding right away. But as we listen to your material more, we definitely hear all those back end influences coming out. And it's, if you clear up the distortion and some of the vocals, you guys could be a bluesy southern rock band at parts.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so,
And we try and keep groove as a factor. People are bobbing their heads, that's always good.
yeah.
But if we can do that with aggressive riffs that obviously have a blues pattern behind it as well, you know, then maybe we're on to something. And then that's our next song.
Yeah, and let's talk about the growth of the band a little bit. You guys have been around about 5 years. Um, do you have any concerns about, reaching so Florida, you're definitely well known. I mean, I think you're like top of the indie type bands, the underground bands in Florida. Everybody knows who Swamp Tooth is, where no matter what show you go to. Talk about the reach of Swamp Tooth outside of Florida, and has that been problematic or a challenge for you guys? And what is the reception like outside of Florida?
I mean, we speak about that on occasion. We were actually just talking about that. I mean, he's originally from Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
So
there.
I feel the reception in Puerto Rico, we both have friends there. Obviously, he has more than me. He's from there. But you know, even there people appreciate us.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
still question, like, I always say we're a Florida band, we're for the South, blah, 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 the whole nine. But it's like, would they even appreciate us in different regions? Or are they just going to be like, the hell are they talking about? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
alligators.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, if it sounds so foreign to certain people,
It,
I
it
kind
sounds
of
a little
feel
it
like,
sounds a little made up. If you don't experience it, it
right,
sounds made up.
but I definitely feel like the South is our base. And I mean, on my end, my perception of things, like that should be the focus, you know. Um, the southern states. I mean, not to disregard anywhere else, of course, obviously, if they'd have us, but would they relate? You know,
Yeah,
South
I don't.
America. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
You got Brazil. You
But
got a lot of
like
countries there too.
in Maine, you know what I mean? I mean, we would have to more about, good lobster.
yeah. Up until about 12 years ago, I was a New England guy, so we were part of the problem here in Florida, right? We migrated down here and we crowded the zone like 12 years ago. But yeah, I think I have friends up there, and you guys, the sound translates. We have friends up there who love you guys. So we think, and that's why we wanted to get you on the podcast. We think the sound is a universal, very unique sound. Um, and if on first here, if people can get over the fact that they think that you're making stuff up about gators and swamp bears and shit like that, then then the true swamp tooth rings out. And just on a side note, being from Puerto Rico, any we like to talk every once in a while about Cardinal Sin on this podcast. I don't know if you're familiar with the band. Yeah.
Love them.
So
I
so
grew
we
up.
love that. Long time ago, I did a fanzine up in New England. They moved up to the Boston area,
Yeah.
interviewed Cardinal Sin, fell in love with them, saw them many times. And whenever we talk to a band from Puerto Rico, it's Cardinal Sin. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up. Are they influenced? Are they any influence on your
Me and my old
sound or?
bands and the old stuff that I did in the past, there were a little bit of influence for Cardinal Sin. I thought they were like the Metallica from
Yeah,
Puerto Rico, and I got the CD. And I mean, I was young when I discovered them. Some of my friends from the old ones from the scene, people from like Godless and stuff like that, they got me
yeah,
into it. So yeah, uh, great
yeah.
band.
Definitely a house favorite over here for
Yes,
forever.
right in
Cardinal
Atlanta.
Sin.
Yeah. Swamp Tooth has released an EP, which is Swamp Tooth, and then an album, Swamp and Roll. Tell me how the songwriting kind of evolved between the two.
the first EP, man, I call it the Revenge DVD, my bad, CD, because I was trying to get Swamp to, just get started, and it just so many, musicians, the drummers, etc. Things that happen. And I remember, never gonna forget it, Getter Infestation. I wrote the riff, and I recorded the song, and I was so angry. But for some reason, Autopsy comes to my mind when I did that song. So, and then the other three, and so it's angrier, but it was just the band starting. I can't say that's the whole sound, but the second album, that's definitely what it's heading. So one is more aggressive, and the other one is like defining the sound. I guess the second one is more like this is Swamp Tooth. The other one's Swamp Tooth, but it was more, like I don't know, like the egg, and the other one is the chicken.
With with the full length, with the full length, I definitely got in Chris's ear and said, if we're to, not Metallica Lulu experiment, but if we're to experiment, let's do it now. You know what I mean? Let's try and put a collage of influences on the full length. That way, if we go that route in the future, people aren't going to be like, they changed, or I used to like them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, let's still go down the route of the EP, but let's also try some, let's dip our toes in other pools,
Yeah.
and, I feel like we've done that. I mean, there's still songs that off that album that we've never played live. We recorded it and haven't played it again.
Wow.
So I mean,
Blackberry
we could keep it interesting, you know, if need be, and pull a song out of our pocket. I mean, we'd have to relearn it. Is that what I played there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we really try to be really careful when we do the songs. We might put something that, yeah, the first album didn't have this, but maybe a little punk feel in the songs. But let's just do a little bit, not too much of it, and stuff like that. Whenever get to, it's like
Stray
ACDC.
and
Like
too far.
ACDC, I always been ACDC. We want to keep it Swamp Tooth, but in our case, we're a little bit here, maybe an acoustic here, but not overdo it. Yeah, but we
Yeah.
gotta be really careful to not to lose our sound.
Yeah, and definitely, I think, yeah. I mean, I would think for you guys, that's not an easy thing to do, but you have your Swamp Tooth sound, and again, we hear all those back influences. So I think adding, all those other influences you're talking about or other ideas just kind of elevates that sound even more.
I mean, even with the new album, like we're halfway through recording our follow up. We just have to do the bass and the vocals and then the mixing and whatnot. But we tried to follow that same approach. Let's conquer some new ground without straying. I mean, sometimes he'll send me something and be like, "What do you think?" And it's like, it worked. You know what I mean? Like, is it Swamp Tooth? That's always the eternal question.
Yeah.
And I'll send him a song and I'll be like, is this two Judas Priests? Is this two Judas Priests? And he's
Can
like,
never be two Judas Priest.
and then once you hear it as a whole, and it's like, nah, that's Swamp Tooth.
Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
not or Judas Priest, but it's still Swamp Tooth. You can still got those bands with the humidity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Running a little
Yeah.
It's good.
We've been hearing some whispers of new Swamp Tooth recordings coming soon. When can we expect to hear that? And how has the band evolved since your last album?
Um, it's always behind schedule.
Yeah, we feel the same way over here. We're always behind schedule.
But I mean, we have made progress just recently. We went into Paris recording studios in Tampa. Yeah, what was that? The tail end of last year, and we tracked the drums. Been doing a rough mix just on the drum tracks. Paris Recording Studios pretty much primarily does. I mean, they do, of course, whatever, but they caught my attention a few years back. They specialize in Latin percussion. So I bought an amp off of them like 10 years ago, but I always remembered them. And when I seen the room, I'm like, this would be ideal for recording drum tracks. So
Nice.
we went in there and did the drum tracks. The all strings we're gonna do here at my house. It's just, cost effective. I
Yeah.
already have the stuff to do it. So we'll do it here. We just recently finished the guitar tracks. Those are done in completion. You know, we recorded 16 guitar tracks of me, 16 guitar tracks of Chris. We have plenty,
Right,
plenty
right.
to do a decent mix. And solos are done, the whole nine. Adrian's with us now on bass from Nigeria,
Yep.
who you saw last night.
He's a
But
monster bass player.
I got to get him over here, track the bass. Then the plan is to go in the Clear Track Studios over in Clearwater. They have a console that caught my attention. We'll do the vocals, then it'll be recorded. So hopefully late summer. Reason I'm saying that is because the intention is to release this immediately on vinyl.
Yeah.
Nice.
The dream.
You know, but vinyl you got to pay.
Yeah.
The mastering's a little different. It has to be mastered for vinyl so the needle don't jump.
Yeah.
And hopefully at the end of the day, people like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So right in time for the heat to set in Florida,
Right?
we'll be
Yeah.
hearing new Swamp Tooth. And you mentioned vinyl. We do know we've been watching a lot of companies coming out now. It seems more economical to get vinyl as the popularity grows again. We're definitely starting to collect as much vinyl as we can. We think it's important to own the music, not just rent the music.
Right.
Um, yeah. So how do you guys, I guess, feel about that between, you're on all digital platforms or whatever. Do you have an opinion on being on digital versus people owning music?
I think vinyl it's like so far to save your music because sometimes I'll go to Walmart and I still it's not as much as back in the day, but it's good to see kids looking at vinyls and stuff like that. It is the real thing. It's like the true sound instead of the cell phone. And all of a sudden you get a scam like you're like no, and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
happens to me all the time. But I just love collecting it. I just would like to have the art, read the book, like the lyrics, smell it. That's what I'm like.
yes, yes.
So now if you compare that, it's spiritual.
Yeah, yeah, agree
I'd be
100%.
lying if I said my iTunes don't put other people's iTunes to shame. It's massive. Like I got terabytes and terabytes upon terabytes of stuff on the hard drive. Um, so I'm constantly listening to new stuff, which is cool. But I mean, if you came over here, I mean, we have a vinyl collection that's just massive. And certain people make the grade, you know what I mean? Like if you have a timeless album, I'll want to buy it on
Yeah,
on physical format anyway, you know. But unfortunately, we're in a different era than what it was growing up, where you got to spend your hard-earned cash on a CD. You heard a video on Headbangers Ball. It's like, man, I want to catch that. You get the CD, and that might be the only CD you bought for a month or two.
Yeah.
right.
And you're crossing your fingers that it's a keeper. You know what I mean? There's a
Yep,
lot of
yep.
disappointment, you know, buying a song off the single. Now we're just so saturated with everything. It's like, you know, I mean, I know there's a nostalgia to it. I know everybody probably says the same thing. I mostly listen to what I listened to in high school. I think that's the same song for all of us for the most part. But at the same time, I do try and keep current with, what's coming out. But not as much stuff comes out now that it's like, this is a classic.
Yeah.
I mean, the other day, was it yesterday? Monstrosity dropped one. I'm like, this is a classic here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having this one on vinyl.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not the cookie cutter, you know.
Yeah, we have a fair amount of vinyl. I have an absurd amount of cassette tapes because that's what was going on when I was young. A lot of cassette
Right.
tapes, did a lot of tape trading through the mail and stuff like that. That was, I guess, the early Napster was getting people to record what they had on a blank thing. But when you go to like back then a record store, record labels were really important. So, I'd look for stuff from Metal Blade, I'd look for stuff from Roadrunner. How important do you think record labels are to a band like yourself nowadays?
It's changed.
The conversation has came up, man.
Yeah,
Honestly, a record deal is not as appealing to me as it would have been at one time. What are they going to do? I mean, are they going to make a video, and where are they going to show it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no MTV yet, I mean, is it going to be on YouTube? We can do that ourselves. I think moving into the future, you know, licensing deals, distribution deals, I mean, what would a record label offer? Tour support, you know what I mean? And then you owe them for
Yeah.
10 years, you're in debt, and you're
Sure.
probably not recouping any of the money anyway because it revolves around selling t-shirts now. I mean, there's no money in music. People that are doing it do it out of pure love of doing it, so to
Unless you got a foundation like Cannibal Corpse or Vader or something like
right.
that,
I mean,
and you can pay the
the
bill.
superstars, that
Yeah.
established themselves years back, they can probably, kick back a little bit. Unfortunately, most new bands that come out, it's a lot of DIY, and really it comes down to, what can you do on your own to make it easier for the next guy to pick up the ball and run with it, however far they'll run with it. And that's where I think like a distribution deal, a licensing deal, would be beneficial to, a band such as us or
Yeah, and we know some bands who use, booking agents when they do, like, US tours. I think that's kind of important, but I also know on the flip side of that, we talked to some bands who've used booking agents who have booked in Tampa with we don't know who the promoter is, but they've reached out to us and they're like, "Ticket sales are nothing here. What's going on there?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I don't see your show anywhere," so I think that's a double-edged sword as well. Have you dipped your toe into booking agents and looked into that at all?
um our contact with them has just, been casual, friendship type things, not, necessarily like contractual deals, you know. See, that's the weird thing, a lot of it's not always what you know, it's who you know type situation, So I mean,
Yeah,
we got certain friends that do that are booking agents that we might like coalesce ideas off of, but nothing locked in concrete to where it's like that's our guy. Whereas a lot of bands do that, and then
sure.
they're stuck with that guy. Then I mean, um, I'm not gonna say any names. I mean, there's been some major, I mean, big bands like we grew up listening to these guys, and we'll play shows together, and I'm like, hey, you ever do shows outside of your booking agent? And they're like, only in our hometown, and it's like, that's cool, just seeing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they want to do something on the side and just make the money direct,
Right, right.
and but
Maybe in time, who knows?
you have to have that loyalty. I
It's
mean, they all do.
Yeah,
They all
yeah.
do.
Yep, yep, yep.
we'll see.
Yeah. Uh, Besides the music for Swamp Tooth, I think a very important part of your band is the artwork. I'm looking at the album cover for Swamp and Roll right now. Tell me about the connection between your music and your artwork.
The
Um,
concept is
this is very important. Like I already had a vision how I want it, and I contacted the guy for 5 milligrams, and
I poetry
poet-
barada.
yeah, and I can never pronounce it well. And I told him the idea, we first of all, I'm a huge Iron Maiden fan, so I thought, not I know a lot of bands do this, but I'm like kind of a mascot, but not a mascot, maybe using here and there, and that's Nigel. The name, by the way, came from the drummer Saxon. I don't know why. And so like yeah, I wanted to be like a king and this and that. So we got songs about this critter. So it would be cool to put the bear, put the raccoon. Fun fact, I told him critters, and he thought like, oh, so he added actually the critter from the horror
People come up
movie.
to me all the time. They're like,
And I told him,
critters. I'm like,
that looks awesome, but that's not what I was referring. But I told him leave it there.
It
It looks
works.
awesome. But
Right.
So that's how it came out. And every song, that's why you turn the booklet. That's why CDs or vinyls are so important. When you turn the book on, you see all the, so this is a swamp tooth. This one is talking about Niger. Oh, this was a Lake Joseph. So you see the lake, or this is a rabbit coon. You see the raccoon. So it's kind of I got that from our meeting in iSurf. They had the concept thing. So I thought it would be cool. So that's where that came from.
And
Yeah, very
and
cool.
what he's referring to too, that goes back to the question, like the physical aspect, physical format. Like when we put out our CD, we made a point, like the Swamp and Roll album has a 12-page booklet.
Yeah.
That's how old school we are. Like,
Nice, nice, very
we'll take the
nice.
walk. We'll pay extra for a
I was
booklet.
a kid. It was going to the bathroom with the arm reading. You know,
You got the whole thing seat here.
and you would stare at the artwork like I think somewhere lost in time, somewhere in time, and you will see the angel falling from the building. I'm like, that's what I want. A lot of details.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It I remember those days. It brought you closer to the band too. It felt like you were like in
Right.
something with the
You
band.
feel
You
it.
were part
Yeah.
of their music and their life as well. Yeah, you're connected to them at a different level. You're reading through the
Yeah.
lyrics and the thank you list and
Yeah.
everything else
Checkpoint
in there, and it's like,
process at all.
yeah, I know these guys. I feel it. It's here.
Mhm.
Life before phones, man. I tell you.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask about the new artwork. Are you using the same artist?
Yeah.
You kind of like answered how important that was to you. We had a few bands on, and we always, I guess, if there's one thing we always talk to bands about is the insurgence of AI, not only in music, AI music, but also in art. Um, Most of the bands always have the same reaction, even though some veered off course a little bit, that they're against that. What do you think the evolution of music and art with AI looks like? And I guess how important of an issue is that to you guys personally and as a band?
I think it's scary. I'm not gonna lie that I've done some projects here and there and I use it, but it's because it's something small and it's not. I see it something more for fun. But when it comes to the,
A post,
it needs to be real and it's so there was a time like I just the artwork, but that shit is it could kill music itself. Like I see some friends like, oh, do you listen to this country song? That's AI. I'm like, that is scary. Oh my
well, I
god.
mean,
Yeah,
even with the art, just like it waters it down. Like it's cool, but in 10 years, is it going to be cool when everybody and their brother did the same exact thing? Like it falls into that cookie cutter thing. Like, people can like immediately recognize it now. That's where it's gotten to, like, that's AI. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
It's like, well, it lost its novelty at that point. I mean, I'm sure it will evolve, you know,
Gonna start doing more old school stuff.
but
Drawing.
but like
Yeah,
Chris was saying,
So-
with the album art, like we'll see the evolution of it. He'll initially send a pencil sketch and be like, "This is what I was thinking." So
right.
watching the pencil sketch turn into the actual album art's like
That's pretty
pretty
cool.
interesting, and it's
Yeah,
like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know
yeah.
how he
We
did
see
it. It's
we
interesting.
see why some bands use it, and it it's cheap, it's quick, it's a
Yeah.
fast fix. I guess most disappointing for us when we talk about it, we see some legendary bands in metal and even in death metal just start using it for album covers. When if you look back 20 years ago, they're putting out albums and they were really proud of their artist. They talked about the
Right.
artist a lot. They talked about the artwork, and now it's just like, shit. What are you doing?
I mean, I could see the benefit of it on like a show flyer or something.
Yeah.
Depending. I mean, usually, like say for example, like an obituary, type of band, they're gonna have their tour art, for the entire tour.
Yeah,
Of course, it would be beneficial to have artists to do that, but for a one-off show, I'm not really gonna follow the promoter if they use AI for the flyer. I
yeah,
mean, are you gonna how much are you gonna invest on
right. Yeah, I would never fault a promoter for
a
using AI because
one-off
I know
show?
promoting's so hard and they don't make any money anyway sometimes. So
Right.
yeah,
I mean, it depends on the show, I mean, you can have so much overhead, you know. Is it, are we losing our ass on this show,
yeah.
or but it depends on the show.
Yeah.
Flyer for a pencil.
Uh, I'm a little bit of a gear nerd, so we'll talk gear a little bit. Is there any gear you guys can't live without?
He's the master of
Um,
gear. I know a little bit, but he's not. Oh my god.
you know, um, I guess the main secret in the toolbox, if I had to have like one secret weapon, is an EQ pedal through the loop. If your amp isn't hitting what, a frequency you desire, even, if the preamp section's there, you're finding what you like tone wise, odds are that missing frequency, you can achieve it with a EQ pedal through the loop. Um, nerdy gear talk, but that's like my bread and butter.
Yeah.
And and yeah, pretty much every amp I love, I still run an EQ pedal through the loop. So that would be my desert island. You only have one thing. Yeah, and,
I'm happy with my orange.
Yeah. Yeah, nice,
I mean, I
nice.
love Marshall, but
Yeah, I think orange owners are maybe the most, loyal to their amps. That's what we found. People play orange, like, "I'm just gonna play orange, that's it."
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like orange because, of course, the '70s influence and all that, and because Crowbar used it or used to.
Yeah.
But Marshall, one day, one day.
I have so many different amps. I've tried different amps within this band, and it's like I don't want to be so domineering. You know what I mean? Like we're a band, you got to keep that in mind. So, you know, if I pull out the 5150, it's like too much animal. You know what I mean? So early on, like on my end, I use a Marshall and SWAMPTOOth, and it works. The Marshall has the British voice in the EL34 uh, power section, and the British voicing seems to work well with us because we're like a loose band, and that's where the orange fits
Yeah.
in as well. More saturation versus attack, whereas if you want that precision fear factory, you're hearing every dead stop and
Yeah.
shit, I obviously would use a different amp with this band
Yeah.
than what we're doing.
Humidity.
But Marshall Orange,
Yeah.
that's a major importance of what anybody would even attempt to appreciate what we do.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. We've seen Swamp Tooth a couple times, and I think really that's where your band shines the most is just your live sound. Uh, there's a feel where you're not only listening to music, but the riffs hit after wave after wave. Talk to me about like just what happens live with Swamp Tooth.
Well, we always try and, of course, design the set lists for the show. Um, some shit's hit or miss. You know what I mean? Like, well, that song, I was hoping it would go over better. And then some songs you notice like, hey man, people really seem to dig that, and that's probably the hardest thing in my mind, and I always, voice that to the guys. It ain't necessarily what we like, like
It's hard.
my favorite song might just see people looking at confused,
Sure.
and it's like, well, I like it, you know what I mean? So you kind of got to put your biases to the side, and that's always hard too, Chris will be like, man, I wish we played this song tonight,
But then-
Right, right.
and then it's like, well, designing the set list, and at the end of the day, there's gonna be songs that we can't play all our songs, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I don't know. We try and be smart about our set lists. I'm sure every band does. Thankfully, we played not a 90-minute set before, so there's no shortage of songs. I mean, we can play. I think there's like 18 songs in our rotation that we regularly rehearse, and there's probably another 10 more that we've never played.
Woo.
So
It'll get crazier with time.
the more
Yeah,
songs
yeah, yeah.
add, it's like just getting tougher and tougher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at
Well,
the same time, I mean, there was a time where it's like, all right, we got we play different tunings.
Yeah.
We don't want people wondering if our set's over when we're changing guitars, you know,
Yeah.
Sure, sure.
for a couple songs. So now it's at least to the point where yeah, all right, let's play 4 songs and B standard, and then 4 songs in drop A, and kill them with this extremely down tuned shit before we leave. And that made it easier for certain,
Yeah.
having a bigger catalog.
Yeah. Well, we definitely appreciate like Eli said, when we see you guys, it's not only we get the visual of you guys and we get to hear the music, whatever, but it seems like I don't know, the amps just the speakers just pump a little bit more vibration. So
Yeah.
we feel the music inside when we see you guys as well. So we really appreciate that part of it, and it really I think it involves us more in what you guys are doing on stage. And with that being said, this is for our Florida audience. So if you're not in Florida, you can like tune out for a couple seconds. But we want to talk about your Paths of Possession show coming up. You want to talk a little bit about that, how it came about, and it's like the not only is it Paths of Possession, but it's the who's who of underground metal, right?
Yeah, I mean the lineup. It's an honor to put on the show with all these bands. Um, Nick, all the guys in Passive Possession, they're all close friends. Um, Me and Nick Goodyear, the drummer of Passive Possessions, we talk a couple times a week. Um, the idea of this show we've been talking about for like a year or two, but you know, we're all hanging out at 2 a.m, ping ponging drunken ideas off each other, and what's oh my god, the hangover today. but so we're all ping ponging ideas, and I'll talk about certain bands, and Nick will be sitting there and he'll be like, pass. And I'm like, you know what? So that's how it came about a year or so ago. And I'm like, man, the hardest part of making this show happen, that's coming up April 11th at the Brass Mug in Tampa, Florida, is timing, you know. And man, it would not have happened without Nick. I probably stressed him out 1,000 times, with every key detail, but it's finally happening. Um, it's not easy because you got George Corpse Grinder Fisher,
Yeah.
who fronts Cannibal Corpse. Not only do you have to set the date when they're not on tour, Jesse's with Malevolent Creation, so now you have to do it when they're not on tour. I mean, it's like a super group
Yeah,
dealing
yeah.
with them, and it all worked out this time, and the response so far has been pretty positive. I have a strong feeling, it might be a long line to get into this one,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
We got our tickets a long time ago for it, and we looked at the opening bands. You guys are playing right before Paths goes on, but then there's the return of Corrupted Saint. We're super excited about Pontifex, Nibiru, Endurus, who we actually just saw at the Vakken Metal Battle are playing. So we're super excited about the show. And we always talk about every episode. We give a shout out to Nick's Precision Merch, where we get all of our t-shirts from. So we try to drive as much we can to him, and we know he's been supporting the scene forever, and he's part of the scene. So
That's who we get
we're
our
big
t-shirts
fans of Nick.
from too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big fans of Nick.
Which is
His
super nice.
prices are the best. His t-shirts are soft. Yeah, great
Exactly.
job, Nick. So I guess before we wrap this up, can you talk a little bit about I know you're very involved in the Tampa metal scene. How do you feel it's progressing? Is it progressing in the right way? Is it growing? Is it shrinking? Is the quality of bands still there? Um, you know, we just got over a couple weeks of the Vulcan metal battle, and some nights were good. Like last night was pretty good. It's pretty good turnout. Great bands on stage. Other nights, a handful of people there. So, what are you guys seeing in the metal
It's
scene?
good. I mean, there were some other shows here and there. Maybe that affect a little bit.
There's
But
waves. there's waves as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've been at certain shows where it's like thought the turnout would be, you know, I mean, not just Tampa bands, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
big band,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, I mean, not I don't want it to come out the wrong way, but I kind of feel like Tampa has so many options. Is I mean, Florida as a whole. I mean, I know a lot of bands people complain like, "Oh, you skip Florida, you skip Florida." But at the same time, you know, we have a lot of I mean, you can go to Tampa shows, you can go to Orlando shows, Daytona. There's so many different venues here
Yeah.
to where the options are like insane, really. You know, like, oh, I'm not going to the Friday show, I'm going to the Saturday show, you know, and what people here, to my eyes, don't always acknowledge, some places don't have that. You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean? You could live somewhere else and you got to drive 100 miles to the nearest venue, and that's the only venue, you know. So everybody's there because
Yeah.
that's the only venue. Whereas everybody here, like I said, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not going to the Friday show. I'm going to the Saturday show." It's so many options that if the promoters aren't working with each other, and you know, you can have a major band, you know, in Tampa, a mile away from the show you're at, and when that show's over, those people are going to the show you're at, you know. So it's kind of like a point of, you know, I hate saying spoiled, but
Yeah.
there's a factor of people here
100%.
having so many options,
Yeah.
you know, that I don't know that it's as appreciated, you know, as Idaho or some shit, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk some about that where there's shows like all the time. You know, pick a night and there's something happening in Tampa or Gainesville, St. Pete, Ocala, anywhere around like even the Gulf Coast area on the side of the state. But you know, when I was growing up, as you said, you know, it's you would see a couple shows in Boston this month, and or you'd have to drive out to Albany or down to Connecticut, so you'd have to drive a long way to get to the show. So, yeah, I definitely think that's a part of it. Is spoiled and I guess that's part of like the lore and the history of Florida, right? So they're spoiled because so much talent and so many bands have come from here.
Right.
It's kind of just embedded, and you could have one of the like Paths of Possession playing, and you could have just one of the premier bands playing anytime a local show, Obituary playing the Brass Mug back to back nights. You know, you could have those things happening. So yeah, definitely, yeah, spoiled, and my hope is that the metal scene in general in Florida does something to start bringing in younger people. Well, I appreciate all the bands playing that I grew up with. We notice that the age of shows, a lot of these shows are my age dudes, and we're gonna die soon. So so we're concerned about that next generation coming up, and who are they gonna hear? What are they gonna do? And if they're not at 17, 18 years old wanting to come out to a show now, then I think you miss your opportunity to get them into the shows.
Right. I mean, that's a factor too. We always try and do, you know, all age shows. Um, I mean, we've seen kids as young as 3 years old at our shows. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy, you know. But it's the you know the image they're into, the you know, snakes and alligators and
Right, right.
like whatever. I mean, everybody likes something different. It's interesting hearing, you know, like as you were talking about the artwork, you know, I've had people approach me just due to that, you know, and people that weren't even been at shows where people bought shirts off of us and haven't even they missed our set. You know, they never
Yeah.
even heard us, but the artwork's what brought them over, and then they cop a CD. We still sell CDs, you know. They cop a CD, and all right, hopefully they like it, you know. But
Nice.
otherwise, you know, they like the logo.
Yeah, they like the shirt.
Hopefully they
Yeah.
like the music. You know?
Yeah, yeah, and I view shirts as it's a walking advertisement for you guys. So whether they like it or not, if they're wearing it, that's a good thing, right?
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I said. It was late, you know, we're in a parking lot. We seen Crypta, And I gave Fernanda some shirts and I gave the CDs. I'm like, so they don't think you're a poser. You got to listen to it. You know, this is just looking at me like, right?
Don't watch your car with a shirt.
Don't wear the shirt if you don't listen to the music.
Yeah, that's kind of the joke. We had Liz from Brat on, and we kind of had that as a joke. We saw her wearing a Death shirt, and I was like, okay, name 3 songs. You know, I don't know if she took the humor quite as well as I thought she should, but
Exactly. She probably listens to it more than anybody.
yeah.
We're so happy to have you guys on our podcast.
Thank you.
We've been
Thank you.
trying so long to make this happen. Before we let you go, let our listeners know how they can support you, how they can hear your music, where they can get some of your merch.
If you go to www.swamptooth.org, that'll have every link: streaming, Facebook, Instagram, and I think it has the Bandcamp.
Yeah, it has the Bandcamp. You can get physical CDs there. Teachers, we're a little bit like ball thrower. Come to the shows. I mean, you can contact us personally, and we'll make it happen. But normally we do a little bit on purpose. Come to the show, and you get the teachers and shit. But yeah, swamptooth.org. Everything's there.
Yeah, and we'll make sure we put that link in the show notes. So if you listen to this, just check out show notes if you can't remember that. swamptooth.org. It'll be in there. So definitely, yeah. Again, thanks so much for coming on. We're looking forward to seeing you guys at the Mug.
We're a little bit like, yeah, I'm sleepy. It's all over.
Yeah. We're a little tired, like from last night. We got in pretty late, as you know, at the show. So yeah, and then we ran into the technical difficulties today. So yeah, but we appreciate you guys coming on. This has been great. So anything else to add before we let you guys go?
Just keep an eye out on our upcoming release. It's called The Swamp Shall Rise Again.
Nice.
Hopefully late summer. You know, anybody who wants to order, hit us up on Facebook through Messenger. We'll make it happen. Anybody that just wants to cut to the chase, the Bandcamp, you know, you can just order it and ship it out.
Come to the show.
We try and do everything direct, you know, and hopefully with this new album we have some US distribution lined up. We're working on it.
Yep.
So
yeah, nice.
We'll see.
Very cool. Yeah, and if you're in the Tampa area, don't miss the show, of course. So
come to the Pass the Possession show if you're local.
April 11th.
Brass Mug, Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, absolutely.
Save you a couple dollars with the pre-sales, or it'll be tickets available at the door.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And